Hi everybody. Over the last couple of weeks, there have been several updates to the immigration system. We have updates regarding a new citizenship exam. President Biden has canceled the executive order Presidential Proclamation 10014. We have new restrictions from travelers from the Schengen area. And we also have some updates regarding the lawsuit filed to block the deportation freeze. In this video, I'm going to share these important updates with you, so make sure to stick around. Hi everybody, my name is Michael Ashuri and I'm a U.S. immigration lawyer based in Los Angeles, California. At my law firm, we work with clients from all over the world. We regularly post videos to make sure that you're up to date with the latest immigration news. So if you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button now. Also, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up so that YouTube knows to share this information with more people. So as I mentioned, over the last couple of weeks, there have been several immigration updates. There are new restrictions from travelers from the Schengen area. We have an executive order that was revoked by the Biden administration last week. That's Presidential Proclamation 10014. We're going to discuss that. We have a new citizenship exam. Well, actually, we're going to be reverting to the old citizenship exam of 2008, which I'll talk a little bit about. And we also have an update for you regarding the lawsuit that has to do with the block on the deportation freeze. So let's get started. So the first update that I want to discuss with you is regarding additional restrictions from people that are traveling to the United States from the Schengen area, from the UK, Ireland, and Brazil. So basically, back in late January, towards the beginning of President Biden's presidency, he enacted an executive order that limits travel to the United States from various classes of people that are traveling from the Schengen area. Particularly, the executive order limits travel to the United States from people that are traveling from the Schengen area, the UK, Ireland, and Brazil that have been physically present within those areas within the last 14 days prior to their admission to the United States. Well, when this executive order was enacted, there was an exception for people who were coming to the United States in the national interest. These were referred to as national interest exceptions. Well, on March 2nd, those national interest exceptions were revoked and they were replaced with a more narrow exception for people that would be coming to the United States to provide vital support for critical infrastructure. So the Department of State has not yet defined what it means to provide vital support for critical infrastructure, but the important message that I want you to take away is to know that if you plan on traveling to the United States from the Schengen area, from the UK, Ireland, or Brazil, and you've been physically present within one of these regions within the last 14 days, you need to be mindful of this executive order and to see if you qualify for one of these exceptions which would permit you entry to the United States. An important point that I want to mention is that US citizens and lawful permanent residents are not subject to this executive order. So the second update that I want to share with you is that USCIS has announced that they are going back to the 2008 version of the naturalization civics exam. As I've shared with you in the past, when you apply for citizenship, the process is called naturalization, and towards the end of the process, you have to take a civics exam where you demonstrate your knowledge of US government, US history, and US civic values. Well, back in 2020, the civics exam changed, and basically some of the changes were that they increased the number of questions on the exam and they increased the potential question bank that you could be questioned on. And when those changes went into effect, there was a lot of pushback and there was a lot of criticism and comments that there was not enough preparation time for people to implement these changes. Well, last week, as I've already shared with you, USCIS announced that they will be going back to the 2008 version of the civics exam. This is wonderful news for anybody that's planning on applying for citizenship or that already has a citizenship application pending. So just to clarify with everybody, the 2008 version of the civics exam, which USCIS will now be offering, is a 10-question exam where you have to get 6 of the questions right to pass. So you need a 60% pass rate to pass the exam, and there's a total bank of questions consisting of 100 questions. Again, that's the exam that USCIS will now be issuing. It's important to know that some people, depending on when they filed their naturalization application, will have the option to choose to take either the 2008 version of the exam or the 2020 version of the exam. So the third update that I want to share with you, which is wonderful news for many people, is that last week, President Biden ended President Presidential Proclamation 10014. Presidential Proclamation 10014 was the executive order that was signed back in April of 2020, which suspends the issuance of immigrant visas for various classes of people, such as the spouse of a lawful permanent resident or the sibling of a U.S. citizen. This executive order was set to expire on December 31st, 2020, and it was later extended all the way through March 31st, 2021. When President Biden was elected, many people thought that this executive order was going to be rescinded immediately. And now we're happy to report that as of last week, on February 24th, Executive Order 10014 is now revoked. And this is wonderful news for thousands and thousands of people who have been waiting to apply for their immigrant visas. Now, an important point that I want to mention is that many consulates are still facing limited availability due to COVID-19, and those limitations are still in place. But the fact that this executive order has been rescinded is still a huge win for the people that were impacted by this executive order, including, as I mentioned, the spouses of U.S. lawful permanent residents, the siblings of U.S. citizens, diversity visa lottery winners, and many other classes of people. And the fourth and final update that I want to share with you in today's video is that the Texas federal judge that originally granted a preliminary injunction suspending enforcement of the deportation freeze has indefinitely extended the block on the deportation freeze. Now, I know that sounds really confusing, so let me explain what's going on. Back in January, the Biden administration put forth a 100-day freeze on deportation. Basically, the Biden administration plans to stop deportations for many different classes of people for a 100-day period. When this policy went into effect, the state of Texas sued to block enforcement of this policy, claiming that it would cause a tremendous amount of harm to the state of Texas. Well, the judge in the case, Texas federal Judge Tipton, reviewed the facts and originally granted a 14-day preliminary injunction blocking enforcement of the deportation freeze. Well, as of last week, Judge Tipton indefinitely extended the block on the deportation freeze. So again, as of right now, the deportation freeze is being blocked and deportations and removal proceedings are still being permitted to go forward. So there you have it. In this video, we talked about how the exceptions for travelers from the Schengen area have been limited in recent days. We talked about how USCIS is going to be going back to the 2008 version of the citizenship exam. We talked about how President Biden canceled Presidential Proclamation 10014. And we also discussed how Judge Tipton has indefinitely extended the block on President Biden's deportation freeze. So I hope you guys found this video extremely informative and helpful. If you know anybody that can benefit from this information, please make sure to share this video with them. We're all about empowering you with knowledge. So the more people that can see this video, that can benefit from this information, the better. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning into this video, and I'll see you on the next one.